Ark Survival Ascended. Now, if you are playing PvP, maybe even if you're playing PvE, you're going to be needing to set up a turret tower or two, especially on those PvP official servers. Now, the building mechanics have changed quite a lot since Ark Survival Evolved. This happens to be my favorite tower that I have come across at the moment. Now, there's a very good reason why I love this tower, and I'm going to explain it to you and show you exactly how to build it as well. Now, one of the biggest changes with Ark Survival Ascended is that they've removed quite a lot of structure that we are familiar with, that we have used to build our towers with before. For instance, catwalks and hatchways, they are now gone and removed from the game. So we've had to get a little bit creative. Now, one of the ways you would typically drop a tower is by removing all the foundations of a tower. If you remove them, the entire tower drops. It's, one of the weaknesses of any tower. If you can drop a tower, then hey, you don't necessarily have to deal with all of, those turrets and those ammos. Now, as you can see, I have significantly messed up this tower, but yet the generator is still alive, and it's all being held up by a single pillar. Now, I'm certainly not advocating that you build an entire tower on a single pillar. However, with the build design that we have got, we're actually using a number of pillars that any one of them can support the entire tower. Now, if we start removing these pillars and this structure, you'll see that the structure is still standing. Now, it sits on 4 pillars, and only one of those pillars need to be intact for the entire tower to remain intact. And it's the reason that I love this design so much, because it just means that your tower just isn't likely to be dropped, and it's actually going to have to soak those turrets, which is a little bit harder, a little bit more work maybe that needs to be put in place. And as you can see, we've actually got those pillars protected by foundations as well. So not only have we got that, extra pillars to protect our tower, we've also got the foundations placed around those pillars, meaning that it's less likely to get targeted. And if we individually remove these pillars, you can see that the whole tower is still up and running. And that's despite it only being held up by a single pillar. Now, I'm certainly not saying that this is the best tower in the game currently, but it is one that I really enjoy. It's one that I think is going to work very well in PvP official, and I'm going to show you exactly how to build it. Now, it starts off by pillars, and of course with the new snaps, with the new mechanics, we're able to change how those pillars set. Now, it doesn't matter where you start. If you pop your outline of a box up using pillars, it's really easy to get sorted. Now, if we just make our box, now a good thing about this is that we can make this as high as we want, and of course if we set the generator higher, then that's going to allow us to put more turrets higher on this tower as well, hopefully leading obviously to stopping that enemy from flying into your base. And I think making multiple boxes, especially with this tower design, kind of means that you can place your generator wherever you want. And that can be really useful, because if the enemy don't know where your generator is, again, it makes it harder for them to target that compartment and to try and drop it. I'm definitely planning on Ark Survival Ascended. Unfortunately, I do have too many generators in the range, so I just had to delete one of those generators. Let me know how you're getting on the official servers with the generator range. Personally, we're finding it another hurdle that we're having to juggle through. I think it definitely has its perks, but it also has its weaknesses. Now, I'm using a false wall here. just to try and make sure that, you know, the door, for instance, isn't easily blown. Now, the false walls, for instance, are actually a little bit less health than a regular wall. So what I have done is I've used quarter walls just to fill in the gaps, making sure that I leave a hole so that way I can still access my generator. Now, with those quarter walls, we are actually changing to the railings, and it's the railings that our turrets are going to be sitting on. Now, I love the railings over pillars, for instance, over doorways for a few different reasons. Namely, number one, I think the railings work best because they have the smaller hitbox. And of course, if it has a smaller hitbox, it means it's going to be harder to target with rockets, which of course is what ultimately brings down turret towers in the end. Now, this is just a little tower, it's not particularly large, but with these building mechanics, it does mean that you're able to build this as high as you want. If you make 6 boxes high, then you're able to put that generator anywhere you want, and the generator range that you will get is absolutely gigantic. And yes, I totally hear you that large towers are at risk of being dropped, but that again, that is why I like the pillars instead of a basic foundation, because when it comes to a foundation, that is one single target. When it comes to the pillars, you have to destroy the entire structure in order to drop the tower, so it's a little bit harder to do. And as you can see with these railings, you can actually place them top and bottom, meaning you can get double the amount of turrets on this tower than you could in Ark Survival Evolved. I actually really like the new mechanics for the turret targeting. I think it's really cool. I think that there's a lot of interesting designs out there, and you're able to double up on guns on, you know, a small little area, which personally I really like. And of course, with this turret design, you don't need to slap as many turrets on it as possible straight off the bat, you know, especially if you're building up, especially if you're on official. Resources sometimes are limited, but this is a tower that can grow with you and your tribe as well. Now, you're certainly going to need more than one of them, but I do think this is a really interesting turret tower design. Let me know down in the comments if you end up using this turret tower, or of course let me know the one that you are using to use. Now, as you can see, the pillars have a large hitbox, but the railings, you can essentially shoot right through those railings. Only when you hit that top beam, or those beams coming down, does that hitbox actually activate. Now, what that means is that you've got a semi-decent chance of those rockets that are being fired at your turrets, if of course your turrets are drained, that those rockets aren't going to make impact at least as easily as if it was made out of door frames or made out of pillars. But there we go, guys, that's all I've got for you in this video. Let me know down in the comments if you do end up using it, if you've got a better design, and what you think the flaws are. But until next time, I've been a monk, who've been Critically Curious, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.